Rika and Mathmech actually showing up out here out of Florida. Don't make 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. 3 cached era post-ban list. Somebody's gonna go, oh great, you know, like this is fantastic, Rob. You know, we just left the format and cached era still topping. People aren't main decking kaijus right now. I don't know what you want me to tell you. The Kashtira matchup is way more winnable than it actually was at this point in time. Like, I'm not even that disappointed. We had one Labyrinth deck squeaking on into top cut, so IKEA and friends doing their thing. We also had one Vanquish Soul. You know, the fact that Konami was able to equalize the metagame enough for Vanquish Soul to be a playable deck in the format, I think was one of the biggest W's that we had out here. And so many people were initially like, well, you know, like there's no point in picking up Vanquish Soul. I mean, times have changed. The deck is actually viable now. We also had a Rika deck stepping on into the light here. It's actually very nice to see plants getting a W out here. We also had Mathmech as well. And then Despia. Seems like a pretty diverse top cut. Let's pass on over to those deck lists. Winning our event here was... Do I need to tell you it's Kashtira? No, you already kind of knew. Okay. Well, the first thing that's going to catch you off guard here is main deck looks incredibly natural for everything that we've seen out here. It's very nice though to see Tier Elements Kashtira actually coming back into the light here. You have the standard value tree. Oh man, this card is so good, this format. Also seeing Econ out here. This is something that I hadn't really seen just yet, but being able to tribute and then, you know, interrupt the opponent by taking their stuff, it's actually pretty decent. Especially, you know, in a format out here where stacking Zeus up on something wins you a free game. You do want those free W's. Of course, the Droll and Ghost Belt down here, also seeing play, and then, of course, evenly matched and Solemn Judgment. This deck is just still Protect or Rise Heart. You make this card, and then your opponent goes, oh, well, I can't out that. Oh, boy. Yeah, that I feel like that's the most Kashtira explanation that I have for you today. Next up here, wow, double Kashtira. This build went with the triple Rise Heart here. Okay, that's pretty interesting. You do see that we have Econs and Book of Moons in here as well. Do keep in mind that this is one of the first builds out of this regional that we saw playing Lava Golem. Initially, Lava Golem was something that players were kind of heading back towards here. And I do agree with you. I think that Lava Golem is a fantastic card. I think that this card being a main deck option, obviously coming from Kentucky to looking at the Florida data here, where you saw, you know, Lava Golem be that main perpetrator, is very, very nice. Defensive options are very, very strong for this. I'm glad to see that Shifter found its way back into main decks here, because this actually makes your life so much more easy in terms of, you know, you set this up, laugh at your opponent, and your opponent's like, what am I supposed to do this? Also, the extra deck option trees down here get better and better for this deck. So, very, very interesting. Next up here, we have IKEA at 48 cards. Holy moly, that's a lot. We are playing Triple Fender in here. We are playing a Fallen of Albaz package in here as well. So I believe that this is just so you can go ahead and turbo fuse with your opponent's stuff. It gives you an extra layer of, I guess, value for this deck. Don't underestimate this, actually. This is why Branded Eldritch was so popular, because you had the stable backing of the back row, and then you're able to kind of take advantage of, you know, having this be able to have a boss monster for you. That's like, you know, why you can still see the splashable mentalities of this coming to the table here and still being relevant. And then, of course, we have access to all the viruses here. Perfectly makes sense to me. Also, to do your servant package in here as well. Yeah, this is, honestly, if you can make this in this deck, you know, backed up with Labyrinth things, it's a pretty good day. Next up here is our Vanquish Soul deck. So, straight off the bat here, Fenrir's for searchability, Shifters, and then these. I see we are playing one Kumamungus, and then we are playing 2 copies of Kurtikara, and then, of course, there's the triple TC Boom. This is your free auto win button against a lot of the metagame. And if you don't seem to think that, like, this is a free win button, please don't consider playing this deck. Because, like I said in some other videos, a lot of people were trying to, you know, play without this. Only one build that I ever seen pop up didn't play this, and all the other consistent results just have pointed me in the right direction for this. So yeah, stick to this. It's also nice to see shenanigans down here. Thanks, talents. Oh man, stack them up, Zeus, and take your opponent's Arise Heart. It really is so crazy to see the things that you can do with this deck out here. Next up here, oh wow, this is a pile. 60 card Rika Sun Avalon. Hi, Rose Paladin. How are you? Haven't seen this in a while. Wow, we're main decking 1 Dimensional Barrier. And then, of course, we're main decking 2 Evenlies as well. And then we're siding triple Awe here. This is actually really nice to see. The fact that, you can look at your opponent's hand and take away something from them that might be a threat to you is really, really nice. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate this, and this is something that we've been seeing kind of come back into the format just a little bit here. The ability for the selective hand ripping. Obviously, with the loss of a pointer of the Red Lotus, decks are trying to find ways to get that hand knowledge. And just because this isn't, an amazingly, accessible card, you have to actually draw it. Same thing with a pointer, but I think that this is pretty good, honestly. An immediate answer to troublesome cards. Next up here, oh, hi, MathMech. Hey, you know what? I'm glad to see that we're finally doing something with Saki Tama. All right, I love this card. It's such a great extender. And the fact that this deck is able to do it, this doesn't even feel like there's much of a difference in the format right now, because you still, Mathemech Circular is still 100% searchable off of Small World. And then you went ahead and you slapped some Signet Minings in this deck. Mission accomplished, right? That's all you really needed to do in order to, fix this deck's problems is 1 Mathemech Circular, no problem. I still have 7 copies of it in my deck versus the 10 that I had, realistically before. So very interesting to see that you still have ways to work around the losses of things on the Forbidden Unlimited list, but good stuff. Mathemech did suffer a lot with the hit, though. That consistency hit really did hurt. Next up here, we have, more Cash Tier. First of all, Shifter's still in the main deck. We have Ashes for defense options. This build is actually playing Desires. This is actually kind of nice. We'd seen this coming up a little bit during last format, where these builds would take advantage of Desires and Pot of Prosperity. I mean, you obviously have option trees to decide which route you need to go. Maybe you do have to risk it for the biscuit to get the better value for this, where, your hand is just so dead. There's a reason why, we joke about this deck being the deck that bricks the most in the format. But once again, the fact that you're able to cover your bases with this, the fact that you have these as defensive options, technically offensive options too, but that's neither here nor there. But Kashtira, the little lines of innovation that we're seeing right now, Econ's probably going to be about the spiciest thing that you're going to see in this deck for quite some time. Next up here, we have, oh, hi, we have some Fallen of Albas here. Oh, okay, we're main decking the Gold Sarcophagus. We are playing the McCurrier. We are on 1 Magna Hut, 1 Druisworm, and 1 Sarnier. Obviously, Sarnier turns into the Lubellion, which is fine. We have Crossout Designators in here. I have a feeling that Crossout's going to be a mainstay in this deck for quite some time. The fact that this does punish your opponent, that way you can actually play the game, is very, very, very important. Looking at the rest of this, double blazing has become very normal. 1 Quem has been fine. We are not playing the Deer Servant in this. People are still screeching to the top of their lungs that you do need to play that. And we have 1 Banishment. We are actually citing the Beast. That's interesting. And then, of course, we can cite in the evenly matched for the Crossout Designator. That way you can kind of laugh at your opponent if they try to cheese it on you. But, okay, I like what we're seeing here once again. This is very, very straightforward stuff. Next up here, we have another Vanquish Soul. Hi, Vanquish Soul. What is this? Okay. I understand. We didn't want to play TC Boo, and we just went ahead and we wanted to make everybody a vanilla. I mean, I guess this is fine because you do have Kaiser Varius in the deck. It is a particularly strong 3K monster, but if your opponent can find a way to out this, and you have Drain Up, I don't really think you're going to be recovering all that much. And then, of course, I love the one-tech Rise Heart that this deck tends to do. And, you know, this is specifically for your fun little matchup here. Your opponent goes, oh, hey, you know, like, oh, man, there's a Shingra Era. Go ahead and, you know, toggle on up. Oh, look, free your Rise Heart here. You know, the fact that this deck is actually doing the same shenanigans that we were seeing other decks do is so hilarious to me. So, yeah, this is kind of cute. I like this. Next up here we have some Manadium Scareclaw action in here. And it is very nice to see like the re-engineerability of this deck. Obviously combining these two engines together to make, you know, some pretty obviously it's what like Tri-Heart with this, depending on like how the rest of the hand sculptures up for you to end on your end board. But honestly, I like everything that we're seeing here. This event was very, very nice in terms of ratio. A little bit more Cashier heavy than I wanted to see, but I think that's fine. It's a good start to how the format's going. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.